The ocean holds a vast secret. A creature longer than 3 buses, with a heart the size of a car. Yet it sustains itself on some of the smallest animals in the sea. This is the paradox of the blue whale, a titan fueled by tiny crustaceans. Its entire existence is a constant, desperate equation. The immense energy it spends versus the fleeting energy it must gain. Our mission: to open the field logs and document the truths of this extraordinary living world. He surfaces, a living island of mottled blue-gray skin breaking the Pacific's endless horizon. A pressurized plume of vapor erupts from his blowhole, hanging in the sea air before dissolving. For a fleeting moment, the immense arch of his back is all that exists, a sliver of life in a world of water and sky. Then, with a grace that defies his 100-ton mass, he slips beneath the waves. The broad flukes of his tail are the last to disappear into the cobalt depths. This is our protagonist, a solitary male blue whale navigating the vast open ocean. He is not wandering aimlessly. Every powerful beat of his tail is governed by a single, all-consuming biological imperative: hunger. To power a body of this magnitude requires a staggering amount of daily fuel. Each day, he must consume up to 4 tons of krill, tiny, shrimp-like crustaceans that form dense swarms miles below. When we analyze the sheer metabolic cost of his existence, we find his life is lived on an energetic knife edge. The simple acts of swimming, of breathing, of maintaining his body temperature in the cold depths burn calories at an astonishing rate. His immense size is not a luxury. It is a constant, demanding burden that must be fed. He is a marvel of evolutionary engineering, a biological engine of unparalleled scale. His journey is not one of choice, but of absolute necessity. His internal clock is ticking. The deep, resonant calls he sends into the abyss are not just songs, but questions cast into an empty expanse. Where is the life that will give me life? His world transforms from light and air to one of immense pressure and sound. He angles his body, diving deep. At 100 meters, sunlight is a faint, shimmering ceiling. At 300 meters, it is gone entirely, replaced by profound darkness. Down here, sight is useless. His reality is sculpted by pure acoustics. He begins to sing. It is not a melody, but a series of ultra-low frequency pulses. So powerful, they vibrate through the very structure of the ocean. These are the most powerful biological sounds on Earth, designed to travel not just miles, but thousands of miles across entire ocean basins. Each pulse is a sonar ping into the abyss, a message cast outward. He is mapping his world, listening for echoes, the shadow of a seamount, the subtle shape of living tissue, or perhaps an answer from another of his kind. From our vantage, his satellite tag draws a simple, purposeful line across the Pacific. But this simple vector hides an immensely complex sensory reality. The whale processes a constant stream of data invisible to us. Subtle shifts in the geomagnetic field, temperature gradients that signal the confluence of currents, and the faint chemical signature of dimethyl sulfide, a compound released by phytoplankton when they are grazed upon by krill. For him, it is the scent of a banquet. He is following a ghost, a memory map of the ocean's bounty etched into his DNA by millennia of migrations. He crosses biological deserts, vast blue voids where life is sparse and scattered. To burn such immense energy on these crossings is a gamble of the highest order. A failed migration means starvation on a scale we can barely comprehend. Every hour, his caloric deficit grows, a silent clock counting down toward a point of no return. The pressure to succeed is absolute. Then, a change. His course, steady for over 400 miles, shifts by a few crucial degrees. His speed remains constant, but his movement now carries new purpose. What has he sensed? Perhaps an echo has revealed a canyon, channeling nutrient-rich upwellings. Perhaps a filament of colder water, a sign that deep, life-giving currents are rising. He is closing in. The search pattern tightens. He begins a series of shallower exploratory dives, sweeping smaller areas more thoroughly. He is no longer shouting into the void, but listening for a single, specific sound. The faint, crackling hum of millions upon millions of tiny crustaceans swimming together. The acoustic signature of his own survival. And there it is, suspended in the darkness, a vast, shimmering cloud, a living nebula of pink and orange, miles wide, hundreds of feet thick, a superorganism, a bloom of Antarctic krill, Euphausia superba. The sight, were he to perceive it as we do, would be breathtaking. For the whale, it is overwhelming stimulus. His physiology shifts in an instant. The steady traveler becomes the explosive hunter. He approaches the edge of the swarm, his body coiled with potential energy. This is the moment his entire journey has been building towards. He executes the lunge. In a burst of staggering power, he accelerates, mouth opening to nearly 90 degrees. The ventral pleats of his throat unfurl like a colossal accordion. His streamlined body becomes a cavernous, water-engulfing scoop. The volume of water he engulfs, over 20,000 gallons, is greater than the volume of his own body. For a few seconds, the drag is so immense he nearly stops. This single maneuver burns more energy than an hour of steady cruising, a tactic of brute force, refined by exquisite design. He forces the seawater out through the sieve-like baleen plates of his upper jaw, trapped inside over a ton of krill. He swallows, and without pause, coils and lunges again and again. He must feed voraciously before this ephemeral bounty dissolves back into the vast blue desert. The frenzy subsides. For hours, the whale has feasted, his immense biological debt repaid. His movements now slow, languid, almost serene. The desperate hunger has given way to the quiet hum of a body processing trillions of calories. His survival, for now, is assured. With his vast reserves restored, the next chapters of his life can unfold. The long journey to warmer breeding grounds, the search for a mate, the continuation of his ancient genetic line. This solitary hunt has served its purpose. It ensures his story does not end here in the cold, productive waters of the Pacific. But the truth runs deeper. The whale's role extends far beyond that of a simple consumer. His actions are fundamental to the health of the very ecosystem that sustains him. This is the phenomenon scientists call the whale pump. By feeding in the nutrient-rich depths, then returning to the surface to breathe and defecate, he transports vast quantities of iron and nitrogen back into the sunlit zone. His fecal plumes act as powerful fertilizer. They spark blooms of phytoplankton, the microscopic plants at the absolute base of the marine food web. And in a perfect, elegant cycle, The whale nourishes the very organisms that will in turn nourish the krill he must find again. He is not merely a resident of the ocean. He is one of its chief engineers, a keystone species. His path is more than a migration. It is a vital artery of distribution, a circulatory system for the ocean itself. He and the other great whales are the gardeners of the planet, tending the vast oceanic pastures in a way that sustains countless other species. The survival of this one giant is inextricably linked to the vitality of the whole. As he moves on, a solitary titan once more charting a course into the endless blue, we are left with a profound understanding. The story of the blue whale is more than the survival of one animal. It is a lesson written in the currents, the chemistry, the breath of the sea itself, a testament to the immense yet fragile interconnectedness that governs all life. In these deep, silent realms, every action contributes to the living whole of our blue planet.